You know that feeling, right? That intense, almost magnetic pull towards something sweet? We've all been there. But have you ever stopped to wonder what's actually happening inside your brain at that moment? Well, today we're going to dive deep and uncover the fascinating science behind our sugar cravings.
Okay, just picture this for a second. Imagine warm, gooey cookies literally melting as they come out of the oven. Or maybe a rich, velvety slice of chocolate cake. Or a giant waffle cone piled high with your absolute favorite ice cream. Is your mouth watering yet? I bet it is. Are you feeling that little pang of a craving?
Yeah, if you're nodding along right now, you're definitely not alone. But what is it about sugar? What's the science here? What's going on inside our brains that makes these foods so incredibly hard to resist? Well, that's the big mystery we're going to solve today. All right, so let's start with the craving itself. To really get to the bottom of this, we first have to figure out what we even mean when we say the word sugar. You see, sugar isn't just that white stuff you put in your coffee. It's really just a catch-all name for a type of molecule called a carbohydrate, and it shows up in a ton of different forms. You've got glucose, fructose, sucrose, even things like starch. And here's the kicker. It's not just in candy and soda. It's hiding in plain sight in savory foods like tomato sauce, or even in snacks we think are healthy, like yogurt and granola bars. It's pretty much everywhere. Okay, so what happens the instant you take a bite of something sweet? Well, a signal gets launched on this incredible, super high-speed journey, starting at your tongue and shooting all the way up to the command center, your brain. And this whole trip happens in milliseconds. It's amazing. First, boom, the sugar hits the sweet taste receptors on your tongue. Right away, those receptors send a signal down to your brainstem. Then, the signal forks, kind of like a road, and travels to a bunch of different parts of your forebrain. But there's one destination that is absolutely crucial to our story, the brain's reward system. Okay, so this reward system, it's the true mastermind behind all our cravings. Now, it's a really complex network, but its main job, its whole purpose, really just boils down to one simple but incredibly powerful question. Deep down, on a totally subconscious level, your reward system is constantly evaluating everything you do and asking one thing, hey, should I do that again? So that warm, fuzzy, happy feeling you get when you eat a delicious dessert, that is your reward system screaming at the top of its lungs, yes, 100%, do that again. And you know, this system isn't just about food. It's a fundamental part of what makes us human. It gets activated when we're socializing with friends, strengths sexual behavior, and, on the more intense end, by drugs. If you think about it from an evolutionary point of view, its job is pretty simple. Make sure we repeat the things that help our species survive. Now, the main chemical pulling all the strings here is dopamine. You can think of dopamine as the currency, or the fuel, for our reward system. When your brain releases a hit of it, it's like a chemical messenger that basically says, whoa, this is good. Pay attention to this. Remember this. It's literally the chemical that makes you feel good. Okay, but here is where our story takes a really fascinating turn. Because it turns out, the way our brain responds to sugar is, well, it's different. It's uniquely different from how it responds to other kinds of food. So let's just imagine for a second you're hungry and you eat a really good, healthy, balanced meal. The first time you eat it, you get a nice little spike of dopamine. Feels good. But what happens if you eat that exact same meal for lunch every single day? Well, that dopamine response starts to get smaller and smaller, and eventually it just levels off. Your brain actually evolved to do this, to push you to find different kinds of foods so you get all the nutrients you need. So yeah, that first taste, the dopamine reward is high. But as you keep eating it again and again, the reward just kind of fades. The food becomes less exciting to your brain. And that's totally normal. It's a healthy response that's designed to keep us exploring and eating a variety of things. But sugar? Sugar plays by a different set of rules. When you eat sugary foods, especially a lot of them, over and over again, that dopamine response, it doesn't fade away. It just doesn't level out like it's supposed to. With sugar, the reward stays high, even if you eat it all the time. Your brain just keeps getting that powerful yes, do this again signal, over and over at full strength. And that is why you might find yourself reaching for a second or third cookie, even when you're not even hungry. Your brain isn't looking for energy, it's chasing that big, sustained dopamine hit. So what's the verdict in all of this? Well, this unique, persistent dopamine response creates this powerful domino effect. It can actually start to change your behavior over time. In a way, sugar starts to behave a little bit like a drug. Now, let's be really clear here. The effect is nowhere near as violent or intense. Hard drugs send your dopamine levels into absolute overdrive. Sugar's effect is much, much milder. But the underlying mechanism, the way it bypasses that normal leveling off process, it's surprisingly similar. And the consequences of constantly hitting that reward button, of overactivating this system, they can be pretty significant. It can lead to a loss of control, really intense cravings, and even building up a tolerance, which just means you need more and more sugar to get that same feel-good rush. It becomes this really powerful feedback loop. So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that your brain's reward system is an incredibly powerful force. It was shaped by millions of years of evolution to help you survive. But our modern world, with foods packed full of sugar, can kind of hijack it. So now that you know exactly how it all works, the question is, what will you choose to reward?